I am Larry Slade, and I'm very passionate about helping people realize their fullest potential. My background is in coaching. In fact, I spent 38 years coaching, was fortunate during my coaching career to win a national championship, to coach at some great places like the University of Washington, Texas A&M, the the University of Tennessee, and Louisville. Very fortunate to coach with some great guys, to do some great things, to coach some great players. The thing that I found about doing that was, although we were very talented, the big lesson in this was about character. I grew up in Newport News, Virginia, and later moved on to Hampton, Virginia. But my early childhood was in the projects. And there were some things that we learned there that have followed me throughout my life. I was fortunate to have both parents in the house that were working, blue collar, integrity filled people. And a lot of the lessons that I talk with groups about, that I talk with people about, really come from my parents. My parents, John and Ruth Slade, were both people that stopped going to school. My dad dropped out when he was in the 6th grade. My mom dropped out when she was in the 4th grade. But they brought something to us that's irreplaceable, and that is the thing about character, integrity, discipline, work ethic. And those are lessons that as we talk with people, as we meet with groups, and we meet with several groups, some at-risk groups, some businesses, you name it, from elementary school all the way through colleges and that type of thing. And our message is this: we want to empower you to write your own story. As I grew up, I learned a lot of valuable lessons. I became a football coach. And the thing that I saw some guys that were very successful. I saw some guys that weren't. I saw some friends that I grew up with that ended up in prison. I have a friend that killed a guy. I just saw all of this stuff going on, and I started wondering why. I had some things in my that I did. I was great at making excuses. All of that was part of that project mentality that I didn't quite understand. But then I started understanding that I had to be in charge of my life, and the thing that really got me going as far as this motivational speaking and inspiring people was this: when I knocked those things off of my shoulders, all of those reasons to fail, something dramatic happened to me in my life. It changed. The blinders came off. The world opened up. The successes that I enjoy now, all are because of being able to do that and being able to really to empower myself to write my own story. One of the big lessons that we talk about, and I think it's so important, and that's the thing of living in your vision and not in your circumstance. I have a couple of stories to illustrate this, and the one story is this. My parents, both, my dad was dying of liver cancer, but I never heard him talk about it. He just kept on working. He kept on doing those things. In fact, his last job that he did, can you imagine this? He's 85 years old. It's a very difficult job. He finished that job. And not one time did he say, "Oh, I'm sick, I'm dying." He just kept on. See, he was living in his vision and not his circumstance. My mom is a great example of it too. She was going through dialysis treatment. I can't remember one time her complaining about being sick or not feeling like doing this. She just went on doing her business with a big smile on her face. And then the last one, story that we talk about, that I think that is it's very, very powerful, and that is the story of Inky Johnson. Inky was a player of mine at the University of Tennessee. He is an outstanding young man today. But Inky would always say, "Coach, I got peace and I got joy." And he would go out and perform that way. He was going to be a first-round draft pick. His vision, though, was to finish his degree, to be the first person in his family to get his college degree. We were playing the Air Force Academy. And as he's tackling a guy, he gets hit by a helmet. And what it did, it severed his nerves in his shoulder. And Inky was not going to ever play football again. And I can remember going to the hospital and praying for God to give me the words to encourage Inky, to encourage his family. And I can remember when I got off of that elevator, that mom is standing there and she gestured towards the room. And she said, "Coach, I really don't know how I'm going to make it, but because my son will never have full use of his arm again." And then I prayed a little bit more, and then she said to me, "And my husband has cancer." And I said, "My goodness." I prayed a little bit more, but then I went into that room and I walked over by Inky, and remember, I'm going in there to encourage them. I'm going in there to inspire them. That young man looked up at me with the biggest smile that you could imagine. And he says, "Coach, I'm okay. I got peace and I got joy." And I'm talking about hallelujah. He inspired me. He's given me something to live for. Because see, he was living in his vision and not his circumstance. Another question out there that I think is a great question is, Coach, what would you say to a young man or to a young person that's going the wrong way? That's kind of, you can see them headed in the wrong direction. Well, first of all, when we speak and when we work with young people, we never tell them how to live their lives or tell them what they should do and that type of thing. But what we do try to leave them with are some things about commitment where they understand really what it is. We want to empower them, see, to write their own story. And so what we talk to them in images, and one image that we talk about, and if I don't leave them with anything else, it's this, and that's the image of a thermometer and a thermostat. You see, the world is full of thermometers. It merely reflects the temperature. It merely reflects the climate. Whatever is going on, that's okay with the thermometer. They're sagging their pants, so it's okay to sag their pants. And then I asked them, I said, "What is a thermostat?" And the magic word is, it controls its life. And that's the message. To be in charge, to be in control, to write your own story. In order to do that, I really try to get the point across that they have to get those things out of their lives that tend to hold them back. Some of the things are inside of them. But then they deal with a lot of pressures outside of that. But to be a thermostat, you learn to push those things away. You make decisions based on what's best for your life. And in doing this, those things that you want for your life, you got a great chance of achieving it. When we talk about passion, we talk about something that's very dear to us, something that we love. I would love to come speak to your group, whether it's a youth group or high school group or college group, business. I would love to come help motivate them to be the very best that they can be.